understand why he wants to fight Conor McGregor. Despite the fact that you and I can sit here and talk and tell people for hours that that fight is a bad fight, there will be a market for it. There will be a huge live gate for it. There would be a big pay-per-view number for it. People would buy it. Welcome to Jabs on DAZN. Sergio Jermell Charlo knocked out Jason Rosario with a jab to the body. What's the hardest you've ever been hit to the body?
I got to tell you, I know exactly who it is, but I'm not going to mention his name. He was a sparring partner, and it was later in my career. I got a little older. I couldn't take them body shots, but every time I think about it, I still feel the pain, Mannix.
Well, you're an old man now. You probably can't take any body shots.
I still feel the pain.
We start with the Charlo brothers, who both had impressive victories this past weekend. Jermall defeated Sergey Derevyanchenko in a unanimous decision, while Jermell knocked out Jason Rosario in the 8th round to unify 3 belts at 154 pounds. Sergio, which brother had the more impressive performance?
Jermell Charlo. Jermell with an E, just to clarify it. I mean, what he did was impressive. To knock out Rosario with a jab, who does that nowadays? And you can see that Rosario was spasming. I never seen that either from a jab. But it goes to show you that if you land a perfect jab in the solar plex area, which is the money punch, but it's very hard to do. If you can get that punch, it's crucial for fighters, young fighters, to realize the importance of a jab upstairs and downstairs. It was brutal, man. I never seen anything like that.
Yeah, I'm going to say Jermall, and only because I knew Jermell had this in him based on recent past performances, whether it was the first-round knockout of Erickson Lubin, the knockout of Tony Harrison. Jermell Charlo has done this and done this very recently. Over the last 3 years, Jermall Charlo has been undefeated, but he hasn't beat top-quality opposition. There's no question. At 160 pounds, Sergey Derevyanchenko was his toughest opponent. Sergey Derevyanchenko, while I think he wasn't the same fighter that we saw against Golovkin, I think that took a little bit out of him, did start to come on in the later rounds, and Jermall Charlo was there to beat him back. He showed a good jab. He showed good conditioning. He showed solid power. This was a test for Jermall Charlo, and he passed it. So I was more impressed by what he did.
Hey, listen, I'm impressed with both of them, but you asked me, I never seen a knockout with a jab. What he did to Rosario was winning rounds too. So, I mean, the rounds that he got knocked down were the only ones that he basically lost, but he was still backing up Charlo. He was making Charlo feel that pressure, but credit to Jermell Charlo. He said he was going to fight more poised. I didn't think that young lion had poised in him, but we saw it. He was patient with that power, and obviously it was devastating. I never seen anything like that.
Jermall Charlo says he is the #1 guy at 160. Do you believe that's true?
I think he made an excellent case dominating Derevyanchenko, something that Jacobs, a huge middleweight, and Golovkin couldn't do. So absolutely, he's a top player. He would be top 3 or 4. Now it's time for Demetrius Andrade to come back and make a statement. But absolutely, that was a hell of a statement at 160.
Oh. Unsurprisingly, I want to see Charlo against Demetrius Andrade for 2 middleweight belts. And then maybe we get the winner of that fight take on the winner of what we hope is going to be Canelo versus Golovkin at some point next year. That is a huge, huge middleweight kind of mini tournament. Moving on, according to ESPN, UFC star Conor McGregor is in talks to fight Manny Pacquiao. McGregor tweeted on Friday that he is boxing Manny Pacquiao next in the Middle East. McGregor's manager told ESPN that the fight would take place in late December or early January. Sergio, do you have any interest in Pacquiao versus McGregor?
No, I do not, because I know the outcome already. I know that Manny Pacquiao's going to beat him down. Manny Pacquiao's not a showman. He's not going to carry Conor McGregor like Mayweather did. Mayweather somehow said he wasn't in shape for that fight. Manny Pacquiao's always in shape, and he's a legend. Even at 41, he's one of the most explosive fighters that we've seen in the last 20 years. He's a southpaw, just like Conor McGregor. one thing that southpaws hate to do is fight other southpaws, and McGregor's not even a boxer. So can you imagine how quick one of the best southpaws of our generation, Manny Pacquiao, is going to take care of business with a guy that fights in an octagon using his legs and jiu-jitsu and elbows? No way, man. I don't want to see this. This is a travesty for boxing, man. No.
Well, if Pacquiao had lost his last fight to Keith Thurman, I might say why not? Because at that point, Pacquiao would have lost to a title holder, wouldn't have his belt, and would be very much in the twilight of his career. But Pacquiao beat Keith Thurman, and he showed at 40-plus years old that he is still a player in the 147-pound division. So not Conor McGregor. I want to see Pacquiao against Terrence Crawford. If that fight can be made, I want to see Pacquiao fight the winner of Errol Spence versus Danny Garcia. I want to see Pacquiao win with really any of the top welterweights out there. I understand why he wants to fight Conor McGregor. Despite the fact that you and I can sit here and talk and tell people for hours that that fight is a bad fight, there will be a market for it. There will be a huge live gate for it. There would be a big pay-per-view number for it. People would buy it, and Pacquiao would have a pretty easy paycheck coming his way. But if it happens, it happens. I don't want to see it. I want to see Pacquiao fight Bud Crawford at some point early next year.
Hey, if anyone deserves an easy payday, is the legend in Manny Pacquiao. But I just think, like you mentioned, that's a great point. He beat one of the elite welterweights in Keith Thurman, so he's still an elite fighter, even at 41 years old. We know what he's going to do against Conor McGregor. It's going to be a one-sided fight. I don't think that fight goes past 5 rounds. It's going to be explosive, violent, and quick. It's going to be Pac-Man eating up them ghosts. I don't want to see it.
And finally, Marius Briedis won a unanimous decision over Yuniel Dorticos, winning both the IBF Cruiserweight title and the Muhammad Ali Trophy in the World Boxing Super Series. Briedis said after the fight, "I am considering a move to heavyweight, but right now I will rest before I make any decisions." Sergio, can Briedis be a contender at heavyweight?
I mean, maybe a fringe contender, compete with the smaller heavyweights? Sure, but no. I'm going to say no right off the bat because he's too small. At 6'1", he's too small in the era of these mountains, these gigantic heavyweights in Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder that are 6'6" plus. So at 6'1", no. At 35 years old, for him to barely start campaigning as a big man, it's not going to be enough time. Can he possibly compete? I mean, he competed with Usyk, but that was still a smaller heavyweight. Can he compete with Michael Hunter? Maybe a Joseph Parker? Absolutely. Can he beat them? I don't think so. I just think he's too small for this era of huge heavyweights.
Well, he's too small to compete for a championship in the current landscape. But I don't think there's much more for him to prove in the cruiserweight division. I mean, he gave Alexander Usyk all he could handle in the last iteration of the World Boxing Super Series, losing a very close decision. Now he wins the thing. There's really nothing left for him to do in the 200-pound and under limit division. So why not move up? And you know what? I think this is an opportunity for the World Boxing Super Series to jump into the heavyweight division. Now, in previous versions of the Super Series, you have had multiple world titles on the line. In the case of cruiserweight, in the last one, Usyk fought for the undisputed cruiserweight championship. You're not going to have that at heavyweight, but you do have some really good fighters there. You can have Marius Briedis move up and fight in a heavyweight version of this. You can throw guys like Filip Hrgovic in there, who had picked up a knockout in his last fight over the weekend. You can maybe add an Andy Ruiz in there, a Dominic Breazeale in there. You take the fighters, Sergio, that are ranked like 5 and below in the heavyweight division, put them into a World Boxing Super Series, and somebody's going to come out of it with a pretty big name. So I would say Briedis move up, and to the World Boxing Super Series, embrace the heavyweight division, even if you can't get the top heavyweights.
Hey, listen, if I was Briedis, I'll move up as well because you want to get that heavyweight money. What is there to prove at cruiserweight? Like you said, he won the title 3 times. I believe he's the first champion coming out of Latvia, if that's how you say his country. But yeah, there's nothing more to prove. So might as well get that heavyweight money. And like I said, versus smaller heavyweights that don't have that huge big punch, like say Michael Hunter, a fighter like that, or maybe even a Joseph Parker. I think he'll be able to compete. Joseph Parker's a champion, so I think that might be a good opportunity for him to show himself in the heavyweight division. Can he compete? Yes. Can he be a top contender? I don't think so.
Oh, Joseph Parker is not a champion. He was a champion. He's no longer a champion right now. I would say also, what other way do you pronounce Latvia?
Hey, by the way, once a champion, always a champion. So give Joseph Parker his due. And I don't know where Latvia is, and I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm no geographer, Chris.